So today I'm going to show you a few different features that you can use with Google Budget. So for starters, you're going to go to Google Sheets, and then through Google Sheets you can either have templates or a blank document. So if we would go back up here, these are going to be all of your template gallery, all the different templates they have. You have an annual and a monthly budget, and just a whole bunch of different ones that you could use. A business budget. I'm going to use a blank one just for now. And one of the features is that when you go into add-ons, you normally go to get add-ons. And then here's like where you can type and then search like all the different additional apps, locations that Google offers for you to use with their programs. I already downloaded one called Template Gallery. So it's right here, and then we're just going to go browse templates. And in here you see you have a whole bunch of different letters, invoices, accountants, student teachers, a bunch of different things you can use for that have templates there. So we're going to go to budget, and we're just going to do a family budget planner. Here, copy it to your Google Drive, and then you're just going to open it. So that's a really cool feature. Another thing that's cool is that all of the formulas that you'd ever need to create a budget, to insert anything into here, is already input in their templates. So you never have to worry about figuring out how do I do this, what equation is it, it's all input already. So that's a really cool thing that Google has set up in all of their templates. So for starters, see you have your starting balance up here. You can just say your total income. And then your total expense for January. Oops. And keep it positive. And then I'll just do February. So, and it's automatically going to change throughout. However you plug it in, it's going to change, and then you're going to get your average and your total over here. So if you come down to income, this is where you can put in specifically like where'd you make your money, so how much you made in wages, tips, and stuff like that. So I'll just insert random numbers for now. Alright, and then so after you do that, you have your total income that's actually broken down, which doesn't really add up, but just because we were playing around with it. If all these expenses that you plugged in were right in your income, then your total income would equal what you put up here. Over here is the total per category of what you had, and then your total altogether. And the same thing will work for home expense. And so like, since I plugged this in and I already went straight to it, that's like one of the cool formulas that it's already inserted for me that I don't have to do. If since it's a family planner, budget planner, if you were to do this and like you wanted your partner to input their half of like what they knew they had, you can just double click on it. I'm sorry. Yes, you would double click on it, and then you would go to comment, and then as soon as you type add, you're gonna get all these email addresses. So I'm just gonna add myself. And then like you can say what was this for. If you see something, if they put something you don't really know what it is, and then you're gonna email it to them, so they're gonna get the notification, and they can tell you what happened there. So that's a cool thing. If you want to do joint budgeting, they can both have access if you would share it with them, and then y'all would both be able to keep track of the money. Another cool feature is you can actually Google this about what emoji is what numbers, but I looked it up, and you just type in equals CHAR parentheses, and then for like a sad face, if money was not spent wisely, you just do that and click enter and hit smiley face. And that's also like with different, it's any like emoji or letter that they'll have their own number, so you can look that up and instead of type in if that's easier for you. Another thing we do is if you would select them, say you don't want anybody to change these, but like you're sharing it with somebody and they can change the rest, you would select all that and then you would go to protect range, and then right here, budget C16 to C18 is going to protect us. So nobody can change that if you set the permission. Same thing if you want to do it like the whole sheet, you just set permission and then nobody could change it. Another thing, if you wanted to, we're gonna have to put a whole bunch of different numbers for this next function. Okay, so just so we can see this next thing that you can do, it's going to be like a heat map almost. So it's going to say what you spent the most money on and what you spent the least. So you're going to highlight the cells that you want to deal with and click conditional formatting. And it's going to show you your range. And then it's going to be default. But we're going to go, just if you want a single color, we're going to go to the color scale. So this is going to be, we can do yellow or whatever color you want. There are a whole bunch. So if we go to mid value, or minimum value, I'm sorry, you can kind of set it to be like the lightest. The midpoint, I'm going to make it a little darker yellow. And then the max value, we're going to make like a burnt yellow. So here it's going to allow you like to see where you spent the most and least money throughout the month, and it just color codes it for you so it's easier for you to see. Another factor that we can use in here is, say you were sharing this with somebody and they completely changed something and you don't like the way it's set up. If you go to file and see version history, this is where you can see all the different versions that people would have made. So if there was more than just like the original and the one that I did was like playing with, then that's where you would be able to view it, and you could just go back into the one that you want and then change stuff from there instead of starting all over. So that's a really accessible one. Another thing would be, say that you went out of the country and you had a whole bunch of expenses from China or Mexico on your account and you didn't really know what they said. If you were to type in those expenses, I don't have a different keyboard, but if you were to type that in like the Chinese characters, you could also translate it. So that's cool. So like you know like actually where you went, and that is going to be, you click equal in Google Translate. Oops. Google Translate, and so that's where you would text what you needed, and it would translate for you to English or whichever language you were preferring. And then you can also do that with the currency. If you go here, I'm sorry, you go to insert, I believe. Let's see. I'm sorry, you're gonna go to format. And then go to number and currency. There it is. And so like with those, if you wanted to change the currency from dollars to euros or whatever currency that you're dealing with, that's where you would do that, and it would change the amount that you spent to what that amount is in US dollars. So that's also really cool if like you were going somewhere. Another thing, if you do this, if you click, I'm sorry, if you were to click on the cell that you wanted to be editing, and you go to comment, you can just like insert there what that expense was for. So, went eat out at Cane's. So that's just like, so you know you have a comment, and it's just gonna hide it, but it's gonna have a little box at the top that's gonna say like, hey, like here's a comment on what you did. So it's not like all just spread out throughout the Excel. It's kind of hidden in there for you. You can also, Google has all their formulas in place. So if you click equal and you're looking for, but you're not, you can just kind of start just type in, and like for A, they're gonna have like all these different ones. Add, and if you keep going, like they have average. So like if you kind of know what you think it might be under, but you don't really know the formula, that's where you would be able to do that in Google. Another thing is, if you wanted to work on this and you didn't have access to internet, if you were going to download it and save it as an Excel, that way you would be able to open it up in Excel, which doesn't require internet to be accessed. That's a good tool to know too, so in case you lose internet one